We are the one, the light in the dark. One heart, one world, one spark. We are the one, together we rise. One dream, one voice, one sky. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Empowered Across the World. And this is our podcast. And I have the privilege and honor of sharing the platform with my host, and that's Jackie Zaccoli from Arizona, but she's global. And Maria from UK, and she's in Africa. And Alina from Poland, and she's in Africa. And I'm Carol Witt, and I am in Africa. So we have our guest, Yvonne Gamble, and we are so excited to hear all the things she is up to and about. Get ready to be so inspired. Yvonne, come join us.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here and great to get to know you ladies. I'm going to share a little bit of myself with you today, and then I will be more than happy to take everyone's questions. Hello, I'm Yvonne Gamble, and I'm here to talk to you about your mindset determining your moonshot. I have 28 years plus experience in finance, banking, and investment, telecommunications, and journalism. I am the owner of 5 corporations between investment, real estate development, aerospace, PPE supplier, and political advocacy. I studied journalism at Columbia College University in Chicago, Illinois. I am a computer programmer, 5 different computer programming languages, and I'm a network administrator. I studied at Laney College in Oakland, California, biotechnology and biomanufacturing. I am the author of 4 books. My next release is coming out in fall of 2022, and it is on the fourth industrial revolution, change management for the next 100 years. My most recent book signing was in April of 2022 in Paris, France. So let's jump right into it and let's look at exactly how your mindset determines your moonshot. Mindset is so important to us, to what we do, and to how we actually do it. So, what I'd like to do first is to help you to expand your vision so that you can remove any uncertainty you have about actually making that moonshot and what that moonshot is going to do for you. The first thing we need to understand is the difference between incremental thinking and exponential thinking. An incremental mindset, what that actually will give you is a better understanding of actually what it is that you want to do. And the focus between incremental focuses on making something better. And the focus of exponential focuses on making something different. That's very that those are 2 different things: to make something better or to make something different. Incremental is satisfied with 10%. So we can make it better incrementally, 10% at a time. If we get if you're 10% better, we're doing well. If you get 10% more, you're doing good. But exponential mindset is out for 10x, meaning we want it 1,000 times, 1,000% better. In the last century, industrial business models were defined by the use of machines to create increased returns to scale. As we launch into the new phase of business, your team needs to develop and refine this business model. The Lean Star approach of test, iterate, and pivot is the right thing to do, but you also must understand the right way to think. Are you thinking about your business incrementally or exponentially? Are you trying to go at 10% at a time, or are you ready to 10x your business? The incremental mindset draws a straight line from the present to the future. A good incremental business plan enables you to see exactly how you will get from here to there. But exponential models, although no, they are not straight. They are like a bend or a curve in the road that prevents you from actually seeing around the corner, except in the case the curve goes up, like the hill goes up, and then you can see around and up the hill. Without an exponential mindset, Google would never have been able to create such an ambitious vision as organizing the world's information. You wouldn't have a Google if you didn't have exponential thinking. They didn't come out just simply to give information out to one person or to one place, but they looked to give it out to the world. And that's exactly what they did. Facebook would never have set out to make the world more open and connected without exponential thinking. You have to think exponentially with the types of things they do. And today, Facebook is still free. Airbnb, they wanted to create a world where all 7 billion people can belong anywhere. That never was even thought of, that that was even possible or a possibility. Exponential thinking. And not exponential thinking to say we'll do this over time, but exponential thinking to say we can do this now. And think about this: the World Economic Forum brings together groups of innovative organizations from the private and public sector to solve global social issues by achieving transformative scale. So we're not just going for incremental scaling up of the business, we're talking about scaling up of business, of life, of careers in a transformative manner. So as we scale up, we're also at the same time transforming. In Maine, they've got an expression: you can't get from there from here. Can't get to there from here. In the launch phase, you need to realize that an exponential strategy has an inherent uncertainty. It's not going to be a straight line, it's going to be on a curve. So now I want you to actually set your mind so that you take back your mindset. And what we're going to look at next is the taking back of your mindset and what that actually will do for you. What I'm talking about when I say take back your mindset, how you want to do that. You want to take full control of your mind. It's simply a matter of taking that absolute accountability and responsibility for your thoughts, your words, and your deeds. It is disallowing yourself to see others as your controller, your manifester, or your cardinal director. You want to basically change the narrative. You actually want to be able to have the full control over what's going on, when it's going on, why it's happening, and where it's happening, and how it happens to you. All of the changing of the narrative happens in the power of the tone. It's your words. It is the frequency at which you vibrate. It's you. It's always has been you. We spend an inordinate amount of time looking outside of ourselves for an answer. We look to someone else to emulate. We look how they did it so that we too can follow that way. And if we do it the way in which they did it, we also will have that success. Now that works to a certain degree, but to a varying degree, that does not work. It's okay if you take the best from all the rest and make it your own. So it makes it your way. A brazen example of that is a few weeks back, I watched an episode of American Idol. And what I saw on there, what really stuck with me was all the judges, they had their individual things that they were saying about each contestant as they finished up doing their song. And one of the things that actually was like a thread that ran through that every judge said every single time, and that was they wanted the singer to make the song their own. Although they were singing someone else's song, they wanted them to leave themselves, to put themselves on the stage and to leave everything about themselves on that stage so that you were left with them and they had given their all into it. So basically, they were saying, sing somebody else's songs. The song is simply the words and the music, but it has to be you. It has to be your way and you take the best that's there and you make that your own. And I thought that was very powerful in the fact that I don't quite remember all of the singers, but I do remember the lesson that they were trying to tell and that they were telling everyone. I remember that very well, with that to take it and make it your own. Today, the buzzword is authenticity and tell your story. Everybody wants to be authentic and they want to tell their story, and rightfully so. They want to see your persona. They want to see your person. Who are you? Must always resonate through your narrative. Everything you do must become a reflection of you, the quality of you, the quantity of you, and the essence of you. Think about it like this. When you see an iPhone, who do you think about? Steve Jobs. When you see a Tesla go down the street, immediately Elon Musk is jumps right into your mind. And when you see Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, you see the embodiment of a supreme decision maker. You don't see any other judge. You don't see anyone else. Although many of those who were there during her confirmation hearing, they may have said they were not going to vote for her, but not one of them said they did not like her for who she was, that she spoke well of herself, that her answers were her own entirely, and that they understood her. And that's what's important. Do I know you when you're gone? Do I know you when you're no longer in the room? Do I remember you? That's what you want to make certain that everyone does with you. They remember who you are. Now, one of the books I do suggest that everyone read, and that is Michelle Obama's book, Becoming. And the reason I suggest this particular writing is because in there, she talks about she really did not learn just who she was and what her role was until she was walking up the actual steps. She was looking for others that she could emulate, that she could be like when she became the first lady. But as she ascended those stairs that first time and got to the top of those stairs, she looked back. And what she looked back and saw were the eyes were looking at her. They were not looking at who she would be like, who she would emulate, or who she would study, or who she would even take the best from. They were looking at her. And that's when she realized she was the role model. And that's when she had to become Michelle, who she would be. And most of life, for women especially, happens prior to us becoming that person or prior to us stepping into that role. We find ourselves at the moment between 11:59 a.m., 11:59 p.m., and 12 a.m. What life just simply thrust upon us. It is at those seconds in time, those 60 seconds, that you stop being what you were and you become what you're going to be. You stop being that little girl, you become that woman. You stop being that single woman and become that mother. It is at that moment in time when you actually become. In that becoming, what we have to learn how to do and what we have to be very much apprised of is the long game and how we play the long game. That is so important in your life. The long game is going to be the most important thing that you do in this lifetime. And that long game is your 10-year plan. That's your long game. You want to have 10-year plans, 10-year incremental plans with benchmarks. What am I going to do year one, year three, year five, year seven? And so that's going to take me to year 10. And you count it back. Know your end. Know where you are going. You don't have to know how you're going to get there. You don't have to know who's going to take you there. What are you going to do? What you have to know is that there is a there. There is a 10-year end. And then I can easily step back and put in place what I'm going to do to make my moonshot my own. And now let's take a look at your moonshot right now. And what you will see with that moonshot is the goals and all of these goals that you set and just how they will allow you to reach your target. I'm going to give you 5 benefits of a moonshot. And in these 5 benefits, we're also going to discuss exactly how they're going to get you to that moonshot and take you through that first 10 years and on into the next 10 years, so on and so forth. And it will also show you how to use them to create that long game. Crazy ideas. That's the first thing we're going to look at. And crazy ideas are those ideas that actually come first before a moonshot actually comes in. The day before something is a breakthrough, it's a crazy idea. With the moonshot mindset, that will give you permission to have crazy ideas. See, when you shoot for the moon, you know you're going to reach the stars. You may even go past the moon and keep going all the way out into the universe. That's how you want to think. Wild, crazy. 10 years from now. Today's most successful companies, I want you to look at them. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Facebook. These are ones they're crushing it. They embrace crazy ideas, followed up by experiments. And they do these experiments in real time with real customers. They test it to see just how viable that idea might be. This crazy thing just might work. It might be crazy enough that somebody may want to actually go with this and do this. And this way they can understand the exponential world. They become agile. They begin to actually build entrepreneurs who are agile to run countless experiments, and they collect data and then they do it over again, changing the business models, changing their algorithms until they get to a point which it works and finding out what works. That's why, if you notice all of them, there is always a constant iterations, constant updates coming out so that you will be able to know that what changes are going to be constant, and then they can make hyperspeed changes, hyperspeed successes. So are you ready to make those jumps? Are you ready to take that? Leaders with an exponential mindset intuitively understand the power of data driven decision. They know that making choices based on human hunches is a thing of the past. You have to have data to make very good choices. You have to ask questions. You have to collect critical data. And you have to know that the correct answer is fundamental to you becoming an exponential organization, having an exponential life, having an exponential career. So let's take a good, close, hard look. Are you ready? Number 2, are you ready to take the risk? Are you ready to put in what you need to put in to actually make your moonshot, to make it your own? You must be willing to take the necessary risk to transform industries, to transform societies for the better. You have to recognize that these will make that mindset of innovators in the world a better place. It'll move humanity forward, and that's what changes the future. Number 3, you have to create a $1 billion challenge, a 1 billion person challenge. You've got to create those challenges. It's going to challenge 1 billion people to do that something. Think about John Lennon. What did John Lennon do? When he did his song Imagine, what did Imagine do? It made people around the world imagine what it would be like if there was peace in the world. And he did that. That is what we call a 10x, which is number 4. And that is the 10x improvement or 1,000% improvement over something, over the way things are. Compared to a 10% incremental improvement, this here will give you 100-fold benefit at all times, but it's not 100% harder to do. It's just as easy. It's easier to do that, and the reward is far greater than just simply accepting a 10% change. Benefit number 5 is, and this is one that I really like. This is probably my favorite, and that is your moonshot focuses and motivates your team. It will help you to be better at selecting people for your teams, the right people to actually work with you, and the right people who are actually going to help you to actually achieve that moonshot. So moonshots not only does it focus and motivates your team, it also helps to focus and motivate you as well. I want to see you achieve that moonshot and get
Wow. Wow. Woo. Okay, you are muted, Yvonne. Oh, wow. Incredible. Okay, so you have about 3 more minutes to kind of recap anything you want to do around that, Yvonne. And
What questions do you have for me? Does the panel have for me? What questions do you have for me?
Jackie has her hand up. Go ahead, Jackie.
All of that's really wonderful, Yvonne, except I'd like to know about Yvonne.
You just did. That's it. That's her.
No,
That's
no,
Yvonne is a
no,
very private.
no.
Just to tell you, ladies, there's so much to tell, and there's so much. One of the reasons why I kind of share it incrementally, and then with my team. And Jackie, as Jackie has said, she and I know one another, but she and I have come to know me over the years. She has come to know me, and really, and one of the reasons why is because I can tell you a little bit about who Yvonne is, say, today, and then you see me a year from now, you say, that's not the Yvonne I know. Yvonne changes because she's agile. And she's in one place where Jackie, kind of led us all in, and that is that continuous adaptation. And because I'm continually adapting to the world around me. So basically, I'm a universal woman, and I live for humanity, and I design I design lifestyles for humanity. And so that is to, what I got here on this planet for that. There was a time when I was not very happy with mankind. This is when I was a little girl. My father was an imam, minister of Islam, and I was allowed to ask one question a year of God, not of him, not of Islam, not of any religion, but of God. And he just simply was the vessel through which I was asking it, much like those who understand the Catholic religion. You go to the priest and ask the priest something, and he gives you an answer, whatever. So pretty much they do the same thing in the Islamic religion. And my question was this: why was mankind worth saving? That was my question. This is a 7-year-old. That's when it started. And we would sit for about 20 minutes, and he would ask, do I have any other questions? I said, no, that's my only question. He says, okay. Well, Sputnik, that was my nickname because I was named after the satellite. The Russian satellite was the first one to go up. And I was named after that, but I was also tracked into that to study, all the things about that satellite and about the space program in space and the world around me. So that's where I became that universal person. But I asked that question, the same question, we would come at the same time every year up until I was 27. So that's 20 years later. At 27, when I asked the question, I did not wait for him to speak or to say anything because he had not said anything up for those 20 years. And so I said, I understand why God will not just simply destroy mankind, although mankind is very deliberately disobedient to God, is not appreciative of God, and is doing everything in his power to anger. I said, but I understand that God loves him like a parent loves a child, and the parent will not destroy his child or his children. He may chastise them, but he will not destroy them. And I said, I understand. That was the end of that conversation. And I've not had to go back to ask that question. I have gone back. I did go back and ask other questions, when the year came and I could ask my question of God, but I never had to ask that question again. So therefore, I began to understand humanity and understand to give it the benefit of the doubt and to love humanity as God loves humanity, without judgment, without, any forward thought or what have you, but accepting humanity as humanity is, and then doing what I could in any small way or big way to assist. And that's Yvonne. And that's what I'll keep doing. And you may see me working on this side of the planet this year, next side of the planet. And as Jackie knows, I do a lot with space. I'm a challenge judge with NASA. So I work a lot with them. And at the same time, I'm also a challenge judge for the Department of Defense. So I do know that once we do reach, we have already gone 40,000 miles out into deep space. And once we continue to go further, I know we got to have something more than some rocks to throw at them if we meet somebody who's out there who's not too friendly and don't think in the benevolent way in which we've seen on the movies. Because I'm pretty sure once we get off this planet and get out there, it's not like the movies.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
My question is this: your moonshot mindset. Number two, are you ready to take risk? What is the biggest risk that Yvonne has taken?
Nice.
Well, the biggest risk that I have taken, I'm that kid where I've always been in that leadership spot. You know, people would never realize I'm being the youngest child. So you kids come in groups, children come in groups. So of the group that I was with, I was the youngest, of about 10, 15 of us. But then of the next group, guess what? I'm the oldest. So now, so they're looking at me and to do things or what have you. And I don't know, I've done some things and then thought about it later. And as I go back and I look at it, I'm like, I had to be crazy out of my mind. But I went back to my sister lived in Chicago on one of these three-story buildings. If you ever seen, they're huge. The three-story building is really 4 stories high because there's
Yeah.
always an English basement. Okay, we were kids. I was 5, and I think some of the kids, well, my little nieces, they were like 3 and 4, and then the other kids was probably maybe up to 8 or 9, maybe 10. These kids are jumping off the building down onto a mattress behind the building.
Really?
So I'm one of
Wow.
the boys are not going to best me, you know. So and I jumped, and we would do that every day. Now, when I went back there as an adult and I looked, that's when I got scared. You know, that's when I got scared. But as an adult, and I went and my cousin and I, we were talking, we were laughing and talking. Oh yeah, ha ha! Remember we used to do this? We used to jump off that building. And I said, we used to jump off of what building? He said, here, I'm gonna show you. And when he did, I was like, I mean, at that point, I almost broke out into tears. You're like, what you crying for now? You was jumping off the building. You was 5 years old. What you're 20, you're 25. What you crying about? You know? So
Wow.
yeah, I have I've taken some risks, and then I look, then I look later. Then I look later, and and I will say this: I shouldn't have done it, but I did.
You think?
You think? And a
Okay.
lot of times like that, believe it or not, I'm gonna tell you, ladies, truthfully, in a lot of my business, a lot of things I've done in business, and I'm pretty sure other people can attest to that. We do some things and we take some risks, we take some chances, we spend some money, we burn through some money or what have you. We hire some people, we keep people on forever, and then we look back after we look back, lessons learned, and then we said, I shouldn't have done it. So there's a lot of things, we go into, and it's not until after the fact.
Yeah, my question too, Yvonne, is just briefly, really briefly, because we don't have much time. You have been working on water efforts, and I think that might be interesting to Maria.
Mm.
Oh, yes, definitely. Actually, I'm working with Dr. Cat Water Citizen, and we just finished a summit in February in DC, at the DC Water HQ. And she brought together venture capitalists such as myself, investors, and then she also brought together about 20 people who had innovation water projects, and they were pitching out their projects, and they were in every aspect of water, deep from desalination type innovation type things to reclamation, to solving problems, bringing water aquifers or what have you. So it's just a myriad of different types of things, and those for me, getting into that industry in the manner in which I do would be to help fund those different types of projects. So I'm definitely interested to know, if someone has a project, and that would be, total, innovation funding, or if they're looking for some add-on collaborative JV funders, if they have a very large, project and already have some funding, on it, we can look at that as well. But
Yeah,
definitely,
please.
yes,
Beautiful.
water is extremely important simply because um, I did work with Kiribati. That's the island that actually went under as a result of the oceans rising. And as we know, those numbers are going up exponentially. That's unfortunately not something that gets to the news every day. But I am so with Kabbalah, I am so proud of the Prime Minister of Kabbalah to have come and stood in knee-deep water when, about a year ago, and he, said, made a plea out for help and assistance. And then they will be the first digitized nation. So they will be the first actual country that will have everything will be, they're taking pictures, they're getting all their information together, all their stories, all their information, and they're digitizing it and putting it online. And he has authorization that they can actually operate from that online as a nation, just as if they were on land. So that he's anticipating when that island is actually completely underwater, they will be able to still operate as a sovereign nation. And Australia and New Zealand have both offered to them land space for the actual people,
Mm.
and so that's already begun. And they're not having to do it like Kiribati did. They did it in a you know, kind of like after the fact, and it was almost literally a rescue mission.
Mm. Wow. Okay, guys. Anybody else have a question? Because we need to wrap it up. No. Okay. Yvonne, thank you so much for sharing the moonshot mindset with us. I'm all about mindset. Mindset is the biggest deal. And I love that you shared that. So amazing. And I love that you share a 10-year plan. I tell people 5 years, but I am going to expand my mind. 10 years. Yes. Okay. And I don't actually have a 10-year plan for YEA. I have a 5-year plan. So we're going to change that. Thank you so much for sharing all your amazingness with us. And we look forward to having you. I know you're going to be guest speaking in different places and having your story be out there. Guys, really and truly, if you don't have a 10-year plan, you want to get on board and have a 10-year plan for yourself. And we're just so excited to be able to share your story out to many, many, many people through this platform. So thank you for joining us today. Every time I get with you, I learn more. I come away with way more, and my mind is so active after I get together with you, Yvonne. So thank you. Absolutely, absolutely. And so please put your information in the chat so that I can put it up into the episode in the description so people can reach out to you that want to, be inspired, be totally inspired by you, your life, what you're up to in life, and how you're making a difference on this planet. Thank you. All right. So guys, thank you for another amazing episode. Please, if you love these episodes, please come be a guest on our podcast. You'll find all of us out there on LinkedIn. Connect with us. You have a story to share. We have an audience that will listen. I want to thank you for all the support that we have gotten. We've gotten so much support from this podcast. Please, if you love these episodes, subscribe to us, share it with many. Your influence is not mine, so share it with everyone you can share it with. And we do these on Mondays and Fridays. Please join us again. And guys, please, let's not struggle and survive life. Let's thrive, and let's do it together. Let's thrive together. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
There's no divide, peace and love on every side.